It is Santa Clarita's hometown station, KHTS. Make sure you go to hometownstation.com for all the latest and greatest Santa Clarita has to offer. And speaking of the greatest Santa Clarita has to offer, we have a very special guest in studio. We have Dr. Peter Laimins, and he is he's an orthopedic surgeon at Kaiser Permanente, normally in Panorama City. However, there's been some big news this last Wednesday, and I'll let him explain. How you doing, Doc?
Kyle, I'm doing very good.
Get that mic nice and close to you. Don't be scared of it. I promise
Absolutely.
it won't
Is
bite.
this better?
It might bite. I don't know. How are you?
Good. So you're right. We opened 2 days ago on Wednesday our new subspecialty building.
And you've been a
Tourney
big
Road.
part of this, right?
Yes. So again, as a physician, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, but I've been an administrative lead of this project, and will stay in that role to manage the building and just kind of coordinate care and get things rolling. And for the today's our third day, and things have been going very smoothly.
And so the big news is we talked about this before we got on, but this is big for people that live here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Right. So for many years, we've offered primary care services to our Kaiser Permanente patients that live here, which is essentially general medicine, family practice, pediatrics, and also urgent care. But for any of the subspecialty needs, cardiology, orthopedics, ENT, general surgery, patients have had to go down to Panorama City to get care there. So what this building represents is a new location for our subspecialty physicians who are now doing the driving instead.
Yes.
So we'll be offering those appointments and certain levels of treatment here locally for our Santa Clarita Kaiser patients.
And that's fantastic news.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic
I think
news.
it's long overdue. And again, the drive for us, it's 20 minutes. But again, for people that live here, there's no need for them to be driving anymore.
Yeah, and it's so that's awesome news. Again, we're speaking with Dr. Peter Laimins, orthopedic surgeon. So you're still doing the managerial role, so to speak, right now.
Yes, and all of our clinic buildings have a physician who's a manager, so that I'll stay in that role until they'll tell me somebody else needs to do it. But again, the urgent care has moved from our prior building, and again, the existing building is only 500 yards north on Tourney Road of the new building. So patients that know our urgent care have to know, and now that we're in the new building, and it's called Santa Clarita Medical Office Building 2. There's a laboratory there. There's a pharmacy there. We have X-ray and imaging capabilities. Next month, we're opening a small outpatient surgery center for minor procedures, and that's also something new that we're offering here. Instead of in Panorama City.
It's just one of those things. It's always good. You're already dealing with these ailments. What a blessing it is to have this facility not be out of the valley.
But there's more to the building, and just like every other business or technology we have, there's advancements inside this building as far as the way medicine is practiced. We're trying to get away from the old stagnant waiting rooms where you show up and you're reading an old Life for Time magazine.
Oh, man.
We now have kind of a public square area where patients come in, they're met at the front door by a service agent with a tablet to take in their information, and then we text patients when their appointment time is ready, so they're allowed to roam around, and there's a coffee bar, or will be a coffee bar there, so that there's less time just sitting looking at a wall. And it's more of a centralized care plan.
I just so you know, you said that. Again, we're speaking with Dr. Peter Laimins, orthopedic surgeon in Kaiser Permanente, talking about the new building, just 500 yards away from the previous building. Right. We'll say it.
About a 10-minute walk.
I'm not going to run, so I'll just
if
be in the car.
If you ran, it would be 2 minutes.
Okay, well, maybe for you, but it's on Tourney Road, new building over there. But when you said waiting room in the doctor's office, I just got stressed out just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So
and so far, we're starting with a lighter schedule, so it's been very pleasant to our patients. The parking structure is right next to the building, and it's just more of a kind of a familiar, friendly environment. The pharmacy is in an open setting in the main area, so again, no enclosed doors. It's almost feel like you're at a Starbucks or an Apple store. That types of atmosphere is.
Oh man.
I think I can say those words. Can I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be all right. Yeah.
Good.
You'll be the one getting in trouble, not me. But again, we're
Thanks,
speaking
Kyle.
with Dr. Peter Laimins, orthopedic surgeon at Kaiser Permanente. And I want to shift gears a little bit. You were talking about the building, but I want to talk about your day-to-day stuff.
Sure.
You're an orthopedic surgeon. Sports, of course, is important here in the Santa Clarita Valley. What are some of the things you're seeing there during maybe some tips for parents?
Sure.
I would say during fall sports season.
My subspecialty within orthopedics is sports medicine. So I see a lot of patients actually from this area, sports injuries, our soccer players, our football players, and certainly with depending on the sport you do, injuries are inevitable. But the key things to learn as young athletes are technique. When we talk about American football, and there's a lot in the news about the injuries that come with football, but tackling techniques, also conditioning and training and making sure you have good coaches. There's a lot of legislation about the number of pitches that can be thrown. And again, most of the coaches know this. But in this setting where there's year-round sports, you've got kids that are pitching for high school and pitching for a travel team, and there's a lot of overuse syndrome. So the key thing is, as a parent, educate yourself about what's right and what's wrong for your kids. Certainly talk to us, bring kids in if you have any concerns. Certainly injuries we're good at seeing, and but also the preventive steps are very important, especially if you have a year-round athlete.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to ask you about. What are some of those preventative things that we can do? I know you spoke about legislation not throwing as much, but what other things can we do on a day-to-day basis?
So back in my time, they talked to us about warming up and stretches. So we know that we used to all stretch before basketball, and I'm in my 50s, so this is a different generation now. But what we learned since then, it's much more important to warm up before you get into a strenuous activity. So get the blood flowing, almost build up a sweat before you start a basketball game or a soccer game. And then actually the stretching is pretty much more important afterwards to kind of counter the tightening up that we get with our joints. Another key thing that currently happens, or frequently happens, is patients will get a sprain or a minor tweak of something, and they'll play through it. And then it becomes a long and lingering issue. So, again, parents, if your kids have twisted their ankle or twisted their knee, and they come in and see us and, hey, it's an ankle sprain, wait until it heals. And, the sad news, sometimes they ask how long. It's like, well, I don't know. It could be 2 weeks. It could be 6 weeks. And that may be the end of the season, but at least you'll be ready for the next season.
Yeah.
So listening to advice and understanding that sometimes the kids' priorities are different from what's good for them, and make sure that you manage your kids in their sports and not to prolong an injury.
What sports did you play growing up?
I was a tennis player, basketball player.
Knocking the fuzz around. All right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Luckily, I did not get into American football. My dad was a doc, and he said, nothing for you. So, but again,
that's progressive.
Back then.
Yeah.
But we're seeing a lot of concern about concussions and a lot of change in the thinking about the sport. And again, I'm not trying to upset any of our football players, but again, the awareness that the coaching staff has to prevent repeated concussion injuries and how to prevent the serious nature of that injury is very important to be aware of.
Yeah, no kidding. You still playing tennis?
No, I have children now. I think, doesn't that all stop when you have kids?
Oh, no, I know. I got 5 kids.
Yeah,
no.
Do you do anything in your free time? Right.
No, I don't have free time. What is that? He's Dr. Peter Laimins from Kaiser Permanente. Thanks for coming in, Doc.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thanks
you
for
being
being here.
Again, go to learn more about the new Santa Clarita Medical Offices 2.
Correct.
Located on Tourney Road, open 7 days a week. Go to kp.org/Santa Clarita. That's kp.org/Santa Clarita. Thanks, Doc. Appreciate you being here.